Mr. Kornze, I wanted to ask you a couple questions on the status of things up in the NPR-A. The President keeps talking about oil and gas development up in NPR-A as part of the all of the above, but really beyond holding lease sales, I'm not really seeing much that's being done by the administration to ensure that a project in the Petroleum Reserve can be successfully developed. Greater Moose's Tooth 1 is the project that we're following very, very closely right now. It's going to be the first production in NPR-A, expected to add 30,000 barrels of oil per day to TAPS. And of course, given what we're seeing with the 5% and 6% decline in TAPS, this is really critical that we get online. So we've got a couple issues with regards to the timing here. I'm concerned that the date for the release of the final supplemental EIS is going to slip. And as I understand the timeline now, the EIS must be released in October to allow the Corps to begin the processing here of the 404 permit to allow road construction for the winter. Already we've got a 120-day minimum review period for the Corps. This would push a 404 permit to January. So the problem is if this EIS slips any further, this construction season is going to be lost, and the project delayed for yet another year, which in my view is absolutely unacceptable. So the question to you this afternoon is, does the BLM plan to issue the final supplemental EIS by October so that we can get this project moving forward in 2015?
So I appreciate you raising this, and the National Petroleum Reserve is an incredible resource for the country. We are working expeditiously through that process right now, and we're also in conversation with, in order to get to a final EIS, make sure that there are answers and more information for the public to evaluate. We're also in conversation with the Army Corps of Engineers to see if they can get started on their review independently, and we've seen some favorable indications that they might be able to start soon. So I'm optimistic that the timelines will work out.
So you think you can stick to this timeline so that everything that needs to happen in order to begin work in 15 can commence?
We are headed in that direction.
Okay. One of the concerns that we're hearing, of course, is that BLM may proceed with only approving GMT-1 as a roadless project, which would make the project just uneconomic. So can you commit to me that BLM will not proceed with a roadless or even a seasonally roadless alternative?
So one of our alternatives does include roadless analysis, and so that's something that we are looking at and going to have to evaluate as we evaluate all the alternatives.
But would you agree that if you take that approach and you go roadless or even seasonally roadless, what that does to the economics of this project?
We will pay close attention to the viability of the project with whatever option is ultimately chosen.
You know, this is a project that is supported as a roaded development by both the regional and the Native Village Corporation, both ASRC and Cubic Corporation. The locals have come out strongly in favor of the proposal. Without road access, the reality is the only alternative that is available then is by aircraft, which of course puts greater stress on the caribou as they are traveling around, greater stress on the subsistence hunting. So I want to make sure, I know that you've been up there, but I want to make sure that you are aware of the very high level of local support for a road to GMT-1.
Yes, I certainly am, and I did greatly appreciate the opportunity to get up there in February. I think it was about 40 below that day, and we went out to see the site.
Nice day.
It was beautiful. We also had a community meeting in Nuiqsut where folks expressed very clearly the same sentiment that you've shared.
Well, I appreciate that you went up there. I guess I would just, again, reinforce the timeliness of these decisions is absolutely key, because if we lose yet another season, again, that goes to the economics of a project, and then if the option is roadless or seasonally roadless, I think it just kills it, which again would not be in keeping with this administration's mantra that they support an all of the above policy. Thank you, Madam Chairman.